AI vibe-coded apps are flooding Apple's App Store, and for the first time in a decade the world of mobile apps feels as exciting as it did back in Thellyball. The term vibe coding refers to the latest breakthroughs in artificial intelligence that let anyone describe an idea and have a working app or website built automatically. It removes the coding barrier, so you don't need to compile. Now, let's dive into what that means for developers, users, and Apple itself, what the datas tell us and why it matters. Take Marco Perez, a 27-year-old software engineer from Chicago who had never built a mobile app before. Over 5 weeks he experimented with vibe coding tools, turning his idea of a news aggregator into a prototype called InfoDrizzle. He spent 2 additional weeks polishing the design and getting it ready for the App Store. The result, the app has downloaded roughly 1,300 times and earned about $500 in profit. Marco barely made it out of the garage, but it shows how low the entry cost can be. He didn't stop there. Within a week of new ideas, he dropped a dogging of photos into digital postage stamps into the market. In May, this scrapbooking-style app amassed 20,000 downloads and about $3,000 in revenue. 12 weeks after that, ASTD Devent with no app-building experience had created apps that double-digit profits, all thanks to AI. Statistically speaking, the App Store has gone from a 30% growth year-over-year last year, reaching 600,000 new apps, to a staggering uptick in the first half of 2024, about 560,000 new apps in just 6 months, nearly a 100% jump from the average previous period. Those figures mean the App Store is fuller than ever. Apple's business model depends on making a 30% share for larger developers, and a 15% share for smaller contributors. The more apps that run, the higher the chance of .es earnings. But that only happens if people download and purchase within those apps. Download data shows a meager 3% rise last year to 35.4 billion downloads and a 2% rise this year to about 17.6 billion in the first half. The increase doesn't keep pace with the explosion in available apps. More apps means more work for Apple. Every submission or update triggers a manual review by the company's app review team. The inermi.by auto traffic adds to Apple's infrastructure and support costs, even if the apps are not generating revenue. So the big question remains, does the vibe coding wave breathe fresh life into the App Store ecosystem, or just pile more clutter on an already crowded shelf? For developers like Marco, the low barrier opens doors to entrepreneurial ventures, but for the platform and the consumers, the value depends on actual user engagement. That's the story behind AI-fueled vibe coding and why it matters for tech, business, and everyone who wants an app they can almost write. Until next time, keep coding, keep creating, and see what AI can do for you. Blowing star.